Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Throwaway Gecko. My 23 female fiance, 27 male actively chooses his mom, 63 female, over me. My fiance and I started seeing each other 2.5 years ago. We met in college and it immediately clicked, but we stayed closest friends for an entire year before starting to date. After a couple of weeks of regular dating, he asked me to join him and his mom for coffee since we had coincidentally met in a store. I went with them and she knew a lot about me up front. I didn't think much of it since I also told my mom about meeting someone great and described a few details. It was then that I realized that he, who was 24 at the time, still lived with his mom. Still, not a big deal, since we all didn't make much or even any money during college. Only after we actually started seeing each other officially did I notice that he had a strangely close relationship with his mom. He jokingly said a couple of times that he would always choose her over me, but I can see myself as a guest in their home. Then, he almost always took his mom to the places we discovered together to show her how cool it is. And we have very few us exclusive places. A few months ago, I had major troubles in my shared flat and needed to move out rather quickly. He then offered me to move in with them, which I gladly took since my family lives too far away to continue my daily routine. I never had a real close relationship with either my mom or my dad. Therefore, I tried to be extra understanding and careful about that and tried to tolerate as much as possible, since I really don't know what a healthy parental relationship should look like. But there were a few things that were just too much. They have their ritual of going out for lunch and coffee every Saturday, and I was always welcome to join them. Once, I was sick and he mentioned that it is so cool to have an OG day. I was hurt and even told him before they left, and he shrugged it off by saying he was joking. His mom added, "Can I get hugs and kisses from you, sweetheart? I miss this since I haven't gotten them since your fiancé moved in with us." I was standing right next to them. A few weeks ago, he encouraged me to start an OnlyFans account together since it would help us build our future. That's where you run away. I asked him if it was to finance the wedding, but he said that it wasn't only for that, but also for his mom to go to university again just for fun, just because she feels like entering a course out of curiosity, which costs a crap ton of money. Not to forget about the Birkin bag that he wants to buy her from the money we make by selling mostly my body. This would be a rare occasion where we would be intimate since he doesn't want to have sex while his mom is at home, so we basically wait like teenagers for her to go out with friends. I get more and more frustrated. Last week, I received an offer from a scholarship for my next education, which is going to be the most expensive one so far. The conditions are that I sign up for the 5 years following graduation to work wherever they need me within the country I live in. If I manage to complete this, I get 80% of the tuition fees paid back. This would be when I am 29 and my fiancé is 33. After I asked him if he'd be willing to move out of the city to the countryside, he quickly said that I could find my own place and he'd stay with his mom in the city. And today, my possible final straw happened. We both had a rough year and planned on going on vacation together. It has never been in the picture that we take her with us. She came into our room and asked if we planned on taking the car to our destination or going by train. He was stumbling around with words, and the best he came up with was, "We plan on taking the train, but if you want to come with us, I'll drive you, of course." He understood that I was upset and went for a walk with me alone and apologized for the mess she had created. She meant well by raising him as the cool parent and trying to prevent him from being emotionally scarred. Oh, great job, Mom. She then admitted that he is way too attached to her and is amazed how I still keep up with their crap, She then told me that she was softly trying to chuck him out since she was still paying for most of his living expenses and that she wanted to enjoy her recent retirement. She also told me that she stopped the extensive hugs and kisses back then after he reached a certain height where he dug his head into her breast, and it was the moment she realized she had to ease things out. I am actually still disgusted by certain details of his mom and my conversation, and fuming about the fact that she is now officially invited to join our planned city trip. Today, I am heavily questioning if I want him to be my future husband. How can I help him to start his own life? Our life, if it is worth the fight, and if someone has similar experiences and how it resolved. Thanks from an only child out of a cold, more distant family structure. Well, OP, your life should start right now by running away from that mess. Honestly, I don't think there's anything you can do to try to fix that. That is not a healthy parental-child relationship at all. And I'm honestly not buying much of what she told you in that conversation where she says she tried to chug him out or she wants him to move away and all that stuff. She's still asking for hugs and kisses, ew. And she practically invited herself to that holiday because she knew her son was going to ask her to come if she asked just one question. Now, in my opinion, the hugest red flag in this collection of red flags that you've got right here is that he wants you to start an OnlyFans account. To me, the red flag is that he's the one pushing you to put this content online. Personally, I don't like OnlyFans. However, I do understand that people have the freedom to do whatever the F they want with their body online. It's their body, they can do what they want with it. However, in this case, it's your boyfriend or your future husband who is pushing you to do this, even if it is as a couple. And the cherry on top of that crap cake is that he wants the money not just for your quote-unquote future together. No, he wants to pay for his mother's whims, education, and a Birkin bag. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be shoes after that because, you know, when you buy a bag, you gotta get the shoes. All jokes aside, OP, run and run as far as you can. Those two definitely need professional help to untangle each other. Yeesh. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. OK Copy 8869 says, it is definitely a massive red flag that he would consider doing an OnlyFans with you to fund hobbies and luxury items for his mom. Run, don't walk. I'm actually dating a guy who would be exactly like your fiance if the story stopped before the OnlyFans crap. And the only reason this ever worked is that in cosmic good luck, his mom met a guy almost the same time he met me. So they both were ready to transition to a more reasonable level of relationship. But even so, there's so much baggage, it has me second thinking things sometimes when one of them decides the balance is off. You are several steps beyond that and more. Yuck. And OP responds, the OnlyFans story also upsets me, since he'd be willing to sell my body in order to give his mom something. To your situation, that's good to hear that they had no trouble to transition. My fiance's mom is single since she divorced his dad in 2010 in order to take care of her child and not risk anyone mistreating him. It's pretty much a lost cause in that regard. Anyways, thank you for the take on this and good luck with your partner. Aussie Girl 27 says, are you effing kidding me? He made you start an OnlyFans so he can buy an effing handbag for his mother? Open your eyes, this guy is using you and his relationship with his mother will always come first. Go, take the scholarship and make a life for yourself, and for F's sake, shut down the OnlyFans. Let him make videos with his mother if she is the most important woman in his life. And Common Effing Sense says, this is literally the definition of emotional incest, and I get why you feel icky about it. It's not just OP, I think we all feel icky about it. Girl, just being 100% real with you, if you choose to stay, it's going to bring so many more issues into your life. Like, I'm concerned. How much does his mom do for him? Does he know how to do his own laundry or even wipe his own ass?
But I want my own ass! I want my own ass!
He's still in a very immature headspace, and it's basically in some ways like you're still with an 18-year-old. It's going to take so many years of trial and error for him to stand on his own 2 feet, and if you're already feeling exhausted with this crap, then you're going to have one hell of a time dealing with him actually growing up. Please get the F out. And Opie responds, his mom basically does everything household-wise, from cooking, doing laundry, grocery shopping. She even tried to start doing my laundry when I moved in, and I told her that this is completely unnecessary since I moved out with 19 years old and I'm very much capable to do everything on my own, since I had been doing it for the past 4 years. He'd really need time to adjust to living alone or with a partner. Valid point from your behalf. Additional information from Opie's comments. I tried talking to him already and I'll keep trying. He acknowledges the problem but is still struggling with how to better the situation. That's what makes me unsure of how to continue. Everything else is working without any doubt. We share the same humor, shared any supplementary hobbies, the same love language, compatible intellectual level, and harmonious fun sex life. If we get to do it. It had been better back in the summer when I still had my room in my shared flat. The OnlyFans part is actually concerning. After he told me, I sat there last night in disbelief. Yesterday, it just felt so surreal how far this story escalated since moving in. I never noticed how bad it was since I had my own place up until September this year. Before that, we just occasionally chilled at his mom's place, but mostly stayed overnight in my shared flat back then. It's the classic saying, you'll get to know someone once you move in with them. Also, thanks for all the comments. It's good to know I'm not crazy by thinking this isn't right. I wasn't sure if it was just because I had a much more reserved relationship with my mom. I still talk to her about certain aspects of my love life, but she never does anything other than listen and occasionally give advice if asked. And no, after reading all these comments, I will not even consider opening up an OnlyFans account. Although, to be honest with you all, when he brought it up, it was like, if we make that much money, it would be peanuts, we could gift her this. Which felt okay at the time, but looking back after yesterday's talk, it is indeed very much effed up. Finally, thanks to all who brought up the term enmeshment. I'll try to consult him about therapy. From what I quickly browsed, I now know that there are specialized therapists on this. We'll give an update on how it will go. Alright, well yeah, the community was quickly to tell OP to get the F out of this relationship, and they also gave her a few tips on what to do regarding his relationship with his mom, which basically is therapy needed. And also, OP was deterred from opening up that OnlyFans account. Anyways, it's time to move on to the update to see how the story ends. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, or subscribe if you haven't done so far. Now, let's move on with that update. After reading all of your advice and talking to my therapist about how to approach it in the best way possible, I made the decision to sit them both down at the table and express how their behavior is inflicting me, my mental health, and everyday life. Right after finishing my monologue, his mom tried to tell me how this form of living is actually normal from an evolutionary biological perspective and tried to compare us three to wolves and their packs, but didn't bother to mention apes once. Then she went on to say how we're doing good economic and environmental work by sharing a flat and that we could make this work somehow. She genuinely wanted to save the situation, but honestly made everything worse by that. They both know that the scholarship I previously mentioned was to become a doctor. Therefore, I just sat there and grinned as I said to her face how enlightened I'll leave this apartment, knowing I am now one step closer to learning about the real biological evolution and how these living conditions are nothing but vile and mental. My fiance wanted to sit down with me alone after and was willing to put everything behind us in order to keep me. I know this sounds exactly like what I originally wanted, but I just know from being his best friend, girlfriend, and now fiance that he is not ready for that right now. I left him the business card of a highly recommended trauma therapist who specializes in CPTSD patients who experience trauma within their family. I offered to drive him there and pick him up in order to be able to decompress in silence in the car, but he'll have to do therapy all by himself. He immediately agreed since he saw how serious this situation was and called the therapist right away. He'll start to go to trauma therapy from next week on. We didn't inform his mom about that since the situation is already messed up enough. Still, I made up my mind that this is not a life worth living. I'll take the scholarship and go to med school. My fiancé and I called it quits today and have broken off the engagement officially. We still love each other, but agreed that it's best to see what time and therapy can change. It's a 4-hour drive and my fiancé will always be welcome. Currently, not as my romantic partner, but hopefully as my dearest friend. Thanks to all the Redditors who took their time and managed to get me back on track. From the general vibe in the previous comment section, I feel like this can be considered a happy ending. Well, OP, I absolutely agree that this can be considered a happy ending and a positive update and all the good things because 1, you're out of that relationship, 2, he's going to therapy and take care of his trauma, and 3, you're going to med school, so congratulations on that scholarship. And with all that being said, here's wishing the best in the future for you and your ex-fiancé separately. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And now, let's finish this video with another post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit entitled People, and it's by user Don't Ask Me Chit. Friend wants to use me as her backup ATM. Next month, I, female, am going away on a vacation with a longtime friend, female. We are going to the Caribbean for 5 nights. It's not all-inclusive, so we will be responsible for paying for food, drinks, and any activities. She asked me how much I was bringing in cash, and I said $300 cash plus debit and credit cards. She told me she was going to bring $300 cash, but no debit or credit cards. She says she's on a budget and $300 is her limit. I explained that it comes around to only $60 per day. This is not one of the cheaper Caribbean islands, so food and drink alone won't leave her with much left over. I reminded her that she needs to factor in cabs, incidentals, or any activities we may decide to do. And you never know if an emergency will come up where she will need money. She said to me, "That's why I have you," and started to laugh. That pissed me off to no end. I tell her that we are both adults who are responsible for our own selves. It would be one thing if she lost her purse and needed money. I would float her money before she even had time to ask. But to purposely use me as her backup ATM is not going to work. I told her now that I know what she is up to and I'm not going to go along with it. If she runs out of money, she will just be asked out and hungry. She needs to bring her cards with her for her own good. She is now telling me I am too harsh and she will bring extra money but no cards. I told her to do what she wants, but if there's an emergency, she is on her own. Alright, well, there's no advice to give here, so congratulations OP on standing up for yourself and telling her that she's on her own because she can't use you as an ATM. Good on you for having that spine. Now, OP has given us 2 updates and I scrunched them up into one to save time. So let's move on with those updates. Thanks to everyone for your feedback, it truly saved the vacation. Here are the highlights. Some of you said that the hotel would want a credit card on file from the person who made the reservation. My friend was the one who booked the vacation. She put the whole thing on her credit card because she wanted the card points. I told her because the reservation was booked through a third-party app, the hotel would need the original card used to make the reservation. So she was on the hook to bring her credit card, lol. She was not happy that her own greed got to her, but at least she brought the credit card. Others mentioned that she was going to sulk, and sulk she did. When we got to the airport, I told her I was not going to spend the vacation in her misery, so let's hash it out right now. She said that my tone was very rude, as if I was accusing her of trying to mooch off of me, and she was. I told her to put herself in my shoes. She was deliberately not being responsible and told me to my face that I was her backup plan and laughed about it. It made me feel used and put upon. She apologized and I apologized for being so harsh. Some of you said she would try to be content with cutting corners. Cabs were prohibitively expensive on the island and they didn't take credit cards, so she looked up how to take the local buses. I was fine with that until we waited 45 minutes in the heat for a bus to take us to the mall. Island time. Yep, we only took cabs after that. A few mentioned that she would go through her cash in the first 2 days. You were close. 2.5 days. There were several markets with local jewelry and crafts that she absolutely loved and they only took cash. So she ran through her money rather quickly. She only brought her credit card, not her debit card. So, as someone suggested, I made her Zelly me right then and there the money I took out of the ATM for her. She paid for the exchange and ATM fees. She tried it with the meals. She ordered something big and wanted to split the bill evenly. Normally, I would not nitpick about that, but I just didn't want her to feel like she still got one over me in any way. Since she used her credit card for meals to save the cash she had, I paid what I owed in cash, and she paid the rest, her higher portion, with her credit card. Overall, we had a good time. We did a few excursions, had shopping and beach time, and relaxed. She even told me it was a good thing she brought her credit card. Things only got weird when I asked her to Zelly me right then and there at the ATM before I gave her the cash, but she knew why I was being so hard-nosed about it. OP's final update. 6 months ago, I posted about my friend Zoe planning to go on vacation without taking any credit card or debit cards with the intent of using me as her backup ATM. One of her friends later told me that I was mean and stingy in how I handled it. Zoe is now going on a Christmas cruise with a group of her friends, and her cabin mate, the same one who told me that I was mean and stingy, just texted me about Zoe's plan to bring only cash, no credit cards or debit cards for their upcoming cruise. Since the cruise is all-inclusive, including unlimited drinking packages, Zoe feels that she can get away with it this time. The cabin mate wants to know what I did to get Zoe to bring a credit card on my vacation with her. I never laughed so hard in my life. I haven't answered her yet. I want to respond, "Don't be so mean and stingy, lol," but I'm electing to stay out of it. The petty in me wants them to find out the hard way. Just wanted to share that update. And it even got better. Yeah, don't be so mean and stingy, friend. Nicely done, OP, and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.